So I first wanted to thank everyone who is joining us today, and for first Zoom workshop led by Debbie Lefever, and I just wanted to introduce her real quick. She does a lot of nature. She goes to different zoos, just lots of fun stuff. She's very passionate, and so I will, one thing I want to let you all know, with everything that you received from the files, those are mainly to be used after the workshop. And within that, there's a link where you'll be able to share your photos, and we'll tell you more about that. And so what we're going to do is, if you have a question, please put it in the chat, and I will keep track of those, and we will hopefully get all those answered. So without further ado, take it away, Debbie.
Hi, everybody. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by sharing my screen. So be a little patient with me here for a second. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you see? Do you see a twirl?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then I thought I saw something else. Okay, so hello. Where to start? I understand that we probably have people at different levels of Photoshop. So what I want to offer is that if I want you to go through and just enjoy the workshop. Okay, don't worry about trying to get it down and memorize it, because we're recording it and you can go back and use I gave you a sample image, and that's the one I'm going to be working on. So here, hang on, I'm going to close my laptop. There we go. Can you still see that? Hello? Did I disappear? Nobody say anything. Missy, are you there? Did I lose you, Misty?
I'm here.
Hi, I just closed my laptop and then nothing happened.
Oh.
So, okay, I guess
everybody is muted except Misty, you, and me. And I'm
okay.
about to...
Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of you guys. All right, so what I was saying is that there are different levels of Photoshop skills here. So if I'm going too fast or going too slow, that's not a problem. You can just kind of go through we're recording it. So if you want, you can go back and go over the things that you missed. Also, there is no right or wrong way to do this. I learned by one set of instructions, and then there were other people who learned by the same set, and they came up with different results because we all did it differently. So there is no one way to do this. There's like 20 different ways to do this. So if you get different results, great. That's part of the fun of it. So, warning, the following material is highly addictive. Okay, so proceed at your own risk. I started off doing it. The first night I did about 30 of them. I'm now up at 400 of them. So yeah, it's highly addictive. So just, you've been warned. People have asked me, well, what kind of image should I start with? And, or they say, oh, I don't have anything good. Well, you don't have to have anything good. In fact, bad images make wonderful twirls as well. This one was just a bad cell phone image I took when I was out walking, and that created that. So it's kind of, you never really know what to expect, and that's part of the fun of it. And it's kind of, Sorry. So bad cell phone pictures work. And then if you've got something that's more monochromatic, that works as well. So you get something like that. And then if you do black and white, what does that create? So you've got black and white, and then you can get something like that. So it's just really surprising stuff on what you can come up with. And then I just decided, well, what happens if you take a meme? And so that's obviously not even a good file size. It's just a teeny tiny little size. And I'm not going to print this. So it's just doing it for the fun of it. And I came up with that. And then you've got junk mail just lying around the house. So I just took a picture of a junk mail and got that. So it's just, you never know what you're going to get. So a lot of times you can take inspirational stuff and turn it into art. So it doesn't matter what you start with. If you come up with something fun, great. If you come up with something that you hate, just don't save it, that's all. Whoops, how'd you get there? So this is the image we're going to be working on, but I want to show you some different things that you can create just from this image. I personally don't think this is a particularly great image. It's just a flower in my garden. And then when I do the twirl, it comes up with something like this. And I think what's happening is a lot of people stop there. And you can, I view this as you're straight out of camera. So personally, I think they need post-processing from here. So what I did, I've got a couple other plugins that I'm going to show you briefly, but you don't need them. It's just part of my workflow. And you can either get them or don't get them. I don't care, obviously, either way. But so with some post-processing, I come up with that. This is a style that I like. You may not like it, but I personally like it. Now, somebody was mentioning, I've been doing a lot of mirroring of the image. And with these images, there's actually 4 mirrors in here. You've got your left side, your right side, your top, and your bottom. So if I do the left side and just copy the left side, I get that. And from the same image, if I copy the right side, I'll get that. So completely different images. And if I copy the top, I get that. If I copy the bottom, I'll get that. So there's just so much that can be done with this. So just because you've gotten to one point doesn't mean you can stop there. And then you can do fractals where you just take the image and just rotate them and shrink them down over and over again, and you can kind of get something like this. Or if you do a different one, you can get a polar effect. So we may or may not get to that. And then as part of finishing, you can frame the image. And then if you want, you can sign it. So all kinds of different things. And I'm going to show you how to create your own signature as a brush at the very end. So stick around to the very end. Okay, so let's put this out and save. Why do you keep coming back to that? Okay, so this is a friend of mine sent me this as an email and said, can you do this? And I went, I don't know, let's see. So I kind of went through, and when I did it originally, I made all kinds of mistakes. So it came out different, but as I said before, there are no mistakes in this process. So I'm going to follow these instructions. It's just a start. You can make whatever changes you want. I really encourage you to make changes because that's half the fun. So let's see if we can get started. All right. Misty, how we doing? Misty, are you there?
We are doing very good.
Oh, good. I thought I was talking to myself this whole time.
No, 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 no.
Okay. You scared me there for a second.
No, I just muted myself real quick, just so if any sounds,
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
wanted you to be the main.
Thank you. Thank you. I just had this terror thought that, oh my God, I'm just talking to myself.
No,
Okay.
you're doing good.
Yay. All right, so here's the initial image. I have sent you this image so you can play with it to see if your results look like mine. And if they do, great. If they don't, that's great too. Processing time will depend on the size of your image. So if you've got a meme, which is like really small, then it's going to be really fast. I took kind of an average image so you can have an idea how long stuff takes to process. If you've got really large files, then it's going to take forever to process. So just know that. All right, let's get into it. So just basic good Photoshop hygiene. Anytime you work on an image, you just make a copy of your background so that way you still have your original image. And there are like 12 to 20 different ways to do anything in Photoshop. So the way I make a copy of an image, now there's making a copy and putting in a blank layer, two entirely different things, okay? So the way I make a copy, and I like to do a lot of keyboard shortcuts, so I'm gonna try to do different ways so you can see it. So the way I make a duplicate copy of an image is I'm on a Mac, so so it's either Command on a Mac or Control on a PC. So Control Command J makes you a new image. Okay, or you can just take it and drag it down to here, and that makes a new image as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start getting into the various filters, and we're going to make what's called a smart object. And it's kind of not a beginning level move. So if you haven't heard of smart objects, it's just part of your journey, your Photoshop journey. The reason you do smart objects is that way you can go back later and just change filters. Otherwise, the filters are pretty well set in stone and you can't change them. So that's why we're doing smart objects. So on the layer, right click it, and then come down here and say convert to smart object. And the smart objects have a little icon in the corner here so you can tell that that's a smart object. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to filter. Can you see my filters, Misty? Misty? Hello, Misty.
I'm here.
There you go. Can you see my cursor over filter?
Yes.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so come up to filter and come down to pixelate and then go to mezzotint. There are a bunch of different options here that you can choose, and you can play with them any which way you want. I'm going to put medium dot because I'm trying to stay on the instructions. But again, you can just pick whatever you want and say, okay. Next filter, you come up again, go filter, blur, whoops, blur, radial blur. On the amount, just bring it all the way up to 100. On here it says spin, which you can do that, okay, but we're going to do zoom. And this centerpiece here is where it zooms from. And you can move this around anywhere you want. So if you move the center, it will stay there the next time you come around. But you can just move it wherever you want. So zoom, and good quality works just fine. And just click OK. Now you're going to do that a total of 3 times. So that was the first time. And with filters, filters have memory to them. So up here you see radial blur, and this will change every time you do a different thing. But this is the last filter that you used. So you can click on radial blur again and just check the settings. So it's 100, zoom, good, and center. And say okay. And then that's the second time. Go for the third time and just click OK because it hasn't changed. Misty, how we doing? We have any questions so far?
No, not yet. We're
Okay.
looking good.
Good. All right. So you can stop at this point. This is perfectly, I mean, everything's perfectly fine. So that's just an option that you can just stop there if you want. And then the fun part is when you go filter, distort, twirl. The mistake I originally made was it said the first one should be a negative 100. So I thought, oh, here's a negative. And I pressed on that. And that's not the negative. The negative is when you actually physically type in a negative and then put 100. And you say, okay. Now, magic. Okay. Let's see. There's a little thing, and I did an image here because it's so tiny, is that you're going to change the blend mode on this layer. So there's a little icon here, and it looks like an equal sign with a couple of up arrows in it. So you're going to double click on that. All right, so it's right over here, and double click. And that will bring up the blending mode for that image, that filter only. And I'm going to take it, and you can, there's all kinds of playing in here. So you don't have to pick the one that I'm doing, just play. Okay, but this time with the instructions, it says lighten. And there's your twirl. Say, okay. Again, you could stop here. Okay, but wait, there's more. So, and then you go filter, distort, twirl. And the last one was a negative 100, and you can do a negative 100. You can do whatever you want, okay? But I'm gonna do 100, just a regular positive 100, and say, okay. And then add some more to it. And you are done. Okay, Misty.
I'm here.
Any comments?
Not yet.
Not yet? No, like, wow, this is so cool. Debbie, you're doing an amazing job.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Okay. So now, for me, this is just the beginning stage. This is where you...
Debbie, I do have one quick question.
Sure.
It says, that little box that comes up, does that move the spot of the design, and how?
That's for you to play with. It will, on the twirl part with the center, is that, see how this is kind of pretty well coming out from the center? Okay, so instead of it coming out from here, it'll come out from wherever you put it. So sometimes I personally don't like the way it looks. That's why I usually don't do it, but by all means, play with it. Absolutely play with it. And it's been my experience, I don't know how to get the twirling center or the radiating center back to center without turning Photoshop on and turning it off and then turning it back on. So that's one of the reasons I don't do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Another question is can you move the twirl center?
That's how you move the twirl center with the radiate.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Or you can crop it differently. Cropping changes centers too. Any more?
That is it.
Okay. All right. So now you can do whatever you want to with this as far as post-processing. You can go into Camera Raw. My workflow is that I go into Luminar and I found a particular setting that I like to use pretty much as a starting point. And then I go into Topaz Labs Studio 2 and I have settings for that as well. So I have an action because I pretty much do that on all of them. So I do my action on that. And I'm going to show you a little bit about actions, but just to kind of give you a taste of it. So an action is something you do over and over again, but this basically does it with one click. And if you notice, my mouse hasn't moved at all. So look, Mom, no hands. So this is Luminar. And then Topaz Labs Studio 2. And I have filters that I've used before. And it just takes it just a little bit of a sharpening to it. And then I have a high pass, and then I just group everything together. So I go from this to that. So that's a done twirl. So Misty, any questions on that?
Yes. One question, it says, what do you do in Luminar?
You know, Luminar, a lot of times when you do actions, or at least when I do actions, it's kind of like speed dial on your phone. It's kind of like, you know, what's your son's cell phone number? I don't know. It's a button on my cell phone. So that's my answer for Luminar. It's an honest answer. I did a setting one time and went, wow, that looks really cool. Let's do that over and over and over again. So I have no idea what I do in Luminar, in all honesty.
Is Luminar a plugin?
It's a separate program. So yeah, you can, it's either a standalone or a plugin for Photoshop. So is Topaz Labs. They can do either as a standalone or as a plugin. Personally, I love Topaz Labs. I've been using them for a long time now. So it just kind of adds something to it. It's just a next level thing. So these
one other quick question. It says, can you do more than 2 twirls?
You can do as many as you want. You can do one. I've done like 7 or 8 of them. You can do them. You can do like 100 7 times. You can do them with different blend modes. This is where the addicting part comes in, is that you can just do whatever you want. There are no rules. There's no right. There is no wrong. It's just like whatever you think looks cool, great. I'm going to show you actions a little bit later. And what I would encourage you to do is when you experiment as an action. So that way you will remember what you did, because my memory has gotten horrible lately, and I'll do something like really cool and went, what'd you do? And I went, I have no idea. I just push a bunch of buttons and it kind of came out cool. So no idea what I did. But this is part of the creative process. The creative process is not saying, you know, at the beginning of my journey, I'm going to go from here to here to here. The creative process says, in the beginning of my journey, I'm going to get in the car and go. I have no idea where I'm going to end up, but wherever I end up, it's going to be so amazing and cool. That's the creative process, in my opinion. But yeah, as I said in the beginning, I'm going to go by that original instructions. So that way you can just kind of see what the instructions are, and then you can do whatever you want. Okay. If you noticed when we were doing the blending modes, I only did it on one layer. You can do it on all the layers. You can do darken or multiply or, you know, whatever, it depends on your image, because each image has different colors in it, different lights and brights and darks. So every image is different. So, okay. One of the things you have to be careful of is that these files can start to get big. Obviously, depending on the image that you start with. Just so you know, this was a JPEG to start with. I do not shoot RAW, and that's a topic for a whole other day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image and I'm going to flatten it. So I'm going to right click and flatten image. I don't need all that. Well, wait a minute. Let me go back for a second. I want to do, let's turn this off. Turn that on. Originally, when we talked about smart objects, okay, the twirling and stuff that we did as a smart object was so that you can make whatever changes you want. Okay, so somebody was saying, well, what happens if you do, well, let's just take this twirl, and if you click on the word itself, it will bring up your angles. So we can change this. So I'm going to do it a big change, so just so you can see it. We were playing around with it last night, and we went from 100 to 125, and it really didn't make any change. So I'm going to put in a bigger number just so you can see the change. So I'm putting 360 in.
It says joined with audio. Okay, there I'm one of them, but I don't see your picture.
I'm sorry, who is that?
Oh, hi. This is Brooke Vogelsang, and I'm just joining you because I didn't get the ID number to join. So I'm sorry I'm late.
Okay. Well, Brooke, we're muting everybody. So can you see the image?
Okay.
Can you see the image?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Misty,
Yes.
can you mute Brooke? Nothing personal, Brooke. Everybody's muted. Okay. So if you notice, we went ahead and we made this twirl 360. So I'm going to go through and click on here, and I'm going to change the blending mode to lighten, and there you go. So when you go through history, we went from that to that just by changing one of the twirls. So you can do whatever you want with stuff. So that's the joy of just playing. So from here to here, just by one change, or two changes actually. Okay, so we're going to go back to this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to flatten the image, because now we're going to do some more playing. Again, because you've got one image, I'm going to do a Command or Control J, just so I'm not working on a background image. Now, I was talking about actions, and I want to show you just an easy action to make. Actions can be really complicated, or they can be really simple. And in flipping these things around, you can take a marquee tool and grab half of it and try to find the center, right? And a lot of times it'll turn pink when you reach the center, but sometimes it's kind of hard to get it. Okay, and yeah, so it's hard to get. So, but if you have guides on, is that the selection will click into the guides. So it makes it much easier, and you won't tear your hair out as much. So what I've done is I've created an action to do that. So I'm going to show you how to make a real easy, simple action. Okay. With actions, there's an action panel. And if you don't have an action panel, what you can do is you can go to Window, Actions, and click on that, and your Actions panel will appear. So if you don't have Actions, then that's how you can find it. So click on your Actions panel, and down at the bottom, there are a bunch of different icons. And what you're going to do is you're going to start recording an action. And the actions will record every single step that you make in Photoshop. If you go outside of Photoshop to answer email or whatever, that's not included. So click over here, and it says create a new action. All right, so I have a bunch of different folders here. So let's click under here. So this way it'll go into this folder instead of wandering all these other places. Okay, so click under here. It says create a new action. And I'm gonna put, and you can name it whatever you want. So I'm gonna put guides 50% and say record. So now everything that I click on is going to be recorded. So, but if I kind of go here or whatever, that doesn't get recorded. It just gets recorded when you go click. And then I want a new guide. And you can put it in inches, but I'm going to go percent because I want to be able to use this on whatever image I have. So it can be a small image or a big image. It doesn't matter because I'm going to go percentage wise. And because I want it in the center, I'm going to do 50% vertical. Okay. And then I'm going to go view, new guide, horizontal, 50%, and say okay. And then see the little red button here? That means it's recording, and you hit stop, and we're done. Okay, so here it says guides 50%, and these are the steps that I made. And you just close that down. All right, so I'm gonna clear the guides. And now with the action, I just click here, and then there's like a little run button here, and there we go. So, and that, you'll have this like as long as you have your actions. So now, when I want to make my selection, it'll just click into these guides. So I don't have to like try to steadily, which my hands aren't steady at all, steadily try to stay on the center. So I'm gonna make this just a little bit smaller. All right, so to make a selection, I'm gonna press M for marquee, or you can come over here and click on the marquee tool, and there's a rectangular or circular, a bunch of other stuff I never use. So you want the rectangular marquee tool, so it's a little box, and just start from the outside, so that way you'll get everything, and just drag it. See how the lines click in, and then it just goes click. So that's all selected. As I said before, in order to make a copy of a layer, you do a Command or Control J, but you can also do that as a selection. So I'm going to do a Command J for the selection, and that's what it looks like all by itself. So what I want to do now is I want to take this selection and I want to flip it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go command, I'm going to do a free transform, which is edit, free transform, and then I'm going to flip it. Well, let's see, free transform. No, I'm going to just do a free transform, but I'm going to do a keyboard shortcut, which is Command or Control T. You can do the other one, but then you have to drag it over. There's a little thing here in the middle, which a lot of times when you're cropping, it kind of gets in the way, and it's kind of like, what is that little thing? It's just, you know, I understand that's the center, but I mean, what is that? This is actually the rotation point of an image. So if you're gonna rotate something, it rotates around that little bobbly thing. That's a technical term, by the way. So what I want to do is I want it to flip to this side, but I want it to rotate around this center instead of this center. So I'm just going to take this and drag it, and it'll snap to the center. You can go image, no, not yet. Never mind. I'm going to right click into the image, and I'm going to say flip horizontal. And ta-da, magic. It just flips. And then just click OK. Misty, any questions on that one?
No, nothing yet.
Let's give them a second for that one, because I covered a lot on that one.
Just remember, everyone, if you have questions, please write them in the chat section.
Right, because you're all muted and I can't hear you.
One, not a question, but someone says that's a good trick.
Okay, cool. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 of those, left, right, top, and bottom, on one image. Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a frame, and I'm going to do 1 frame for all. So that's going to show you how to do that. There's a way of combining all of the stuff that you've got going on, all the visible stuff, into one layer. Okay, so it's basically smash down a bunch of keys on your keyboard. So it's basically Command or Control, Alt or Option, and Shift. E is an Edward. So you're actually pushing 4 buttons at the same time. Now the Option and Command or Control, whatever, on a Mac, the keys are right next to each other. So what I do is I take one finger and I press them together. And I press it in the middle. So I do that, and then I hit the Shift, and then I hit E as in Edward, and that combines them all together. So since I'm going to be doing all 4 of them, I'm going to hide that one. I'm going to take this one and delete it and start over again. Okay, so this one, I'm going to do the left-hand side. So I'm going to press M for marquee and go down. And then I'm going to hit Control, and this is kind of a shortcut kind of thing. So I'm going to hit Command J and Command T at the same time. So I'm going to copy the layer and I'm going to transform it. So you can just go JT real quick. And then just move this over. Right click, flip horizontal, hit Enter. And then we're going to go smash a bunch of buttons, the Option, Command, Shift, E. Hide this one, delete this one. Now we're going to do top, so M for marquee. Command or Control J, T. Bring it down, right click, flip vertical this time. Hit Enter to accept. Hit a bunch of buttons. Sorry. Hide this one. Delete this one. And the last one, M for marquee. JT. Move the rotation point. Right click, flip vertical. Hide that one and delete that one. All right, now, don't need the guides anymore.
Just a quick question. It says,
Sure.
could you make all of these an action? What you were just showing, can you make any and all of those in action?
I don't think so. Mainly because each of the images are a different size. So it's more of a selection process. So yeah, I don't think so. You can try it. Absolutely, you can try it. Let me know. So I want to get rid of the guides. So just clear guides. Okay. So any questions on that other than the action? I went through
Nope,
that. Huh?
nope, no questions.
Really? I went through that pretty quick.
I'm gonna have to review this and review this video.
Well, and as I said before, I'm going through this really fast. So if you want, you can contact me through the club's Facebook page, and I'm happy to do a private Zoom call with people just to kind of go through it on a little bit more relaxed individual basis.
A quick question, it says, why do you delete layers?
Why do I need them? It starts getting really big, and that slows the process down. And it also gets confusing because it's kind of like, wait, which is this one versus that one? And I don't need them anymore. So it just kind of streamlines things. Also, if you watch a bunch of Photoshop videos, people will rename layers and stuff. And it's like, nah, I don't. Because I'm going to flatten the whole thing anyway, so I'm not going back on my stuff. So I don't do it. All right, we're going to create a frame. So I'm going to create an empty layer, and I'm going to put it behind that image. So there's that, and there's an empty layer behind it. All right, so what I want to do for the frame is I want to make it around here. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do image. I'm going to increase my canvas size, not the image size, the canvas size. If it says relative, that means that if I'm going to add 1 inch or 2 inches or whatever to the height or the width, relatively. So if I've got 10 inches, it doesn't, I don't care how big the image is, I'm just going to add 1 inch to all the sides. A lot of times it depends on how big your image is to begin with. So if you click off the relative, now you can see how big your image is. So a lot of times if the image is really big, that means I need to add more inches to make it more even. So let's click relative, and let's just try 2 inches on both sides and see what that looks like. Okay, so that's a reasonable amount. Now it filled in, all right, if you look here, there's no color on this image, okay? What it did was the color of this was from whatever color you had going on here. So again, no right or wrong answers on this. You can leave white if you want, but since there's no color, I'm not sure what will happen when, all right, I'm gonna pick a color. So if you go on this layer, because this layer here has 0 color in it, and I'm gonna do a color picker with my brush. So the way you can do it is you can go with your brush tool, or you can just hit the letter B as in brush. And then if you hit the Alt or Option key, you get a little eyedropper here. And let's just wander around and try to pick a color. Here we go. And then come back to this blank layer and fill it with a color. So that's kind of a okay color, but I want to do something a little different to it. So this is Topaz Labs has, I've had them for, I don't know, 10 years now. So I have a bunch of stuff that's no longer available, but they have, so I'm going to go in, and Topaz now has Studio 2, and they have, I'm going to add a texture to this layer. And Studio 2 has textures in it. But because I've been doing this for so long, I have probably 1,000 textures in there, and there's no way to transfer it over to Studio 2. So I just stay in the original Topaz textures effect. So if you decide to do this, go into Topaz Studio 2 and textures are in there. So this is just the blank green because it's underneath the other picture. And there are all kinds of, these are theirs. Oops. The little zoom thing's covering it up. Go to textures and I'm going to my effects. And I've done a bunch of these. So I can just, if you want to know what it looks like, just contact me later. So I'm going to use that as a texture. And textures is a whole other class. But there's that. Now there's a bunch of different ways if you think that's too light or it's too dark. If you put another layer underneath here, if you hit D, if you look over here on the paint, yeah, let's do it. All right, if you hit D, it will change your paint to the default colors, which are black and white. And on here, if I hit white, if I take this and if I want to make the frame lighter, if I click on here and I play with the opacity, it'll make it lighter. If I change this to black and work on the opacity, it'll make it darker. Or as a friend of mine said, you can just take levels and just play with that as well. So again, in Photoshop, there are 20 different ways to do the same thing. And there are 20 different ways to make a frame. So I'm just trying to do an easy way. And what I want to do is I want to do a stroke just to kind of add some color to this. So I'm going to go up on my layer that has some color to it, hit B for brush, and Alt Option for my color picker, and I'm just going to pick a color. And I want to make that just a little bit lighter. So if you double click on it, it'll come up with your color picker. And hue, saturation, and brightness, if it's on B for bright, if you take this and move it up, it'll make your color a little bit lighter. So click OK. Now, go back on the textured layer for the frame, and I'm going to hit M for marquee, and I'm just going to draw a line around here. And there's got to be, and if anybody knows of an exact way to do this, please let me know, is right now I am just eyeballing this. And just trying to make it even. And it seems like the left side's a little bit less. So I'm going to hit my space bar while I'm still holding down on my mouse, and I can move it. So looks reasonable to me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Edit, Stroke, and because it's the frame and it's on the outside, I'm going to try a 9 pixels and say on the inside. It sounds crazy that it should be in the inside versus the outside, but if you do in the inside, then the corners are better. And click OK, hit deselect, and there's my frame. So actually, I think that looks a little big. So Command Z, let's go Edit, Stroke. And it's got memory to it, so I thought the 9 was too big, so let's try 7. That's a little bit better. Okay, and I want to do a double one. So hit M for marquee, come out. Do another one. Just kind of eyeball it. Edit, stroke. Got memory to it, say okay. Command D, deselect. And then I want to do just one around the image itself. So you've got to be on the image, edit, stroke, and let's do 4 and say okay. So that's basically done. So because I was doing the stroke around the image itself, let's do it on all the other images. So just kind of edit, stroke, okay. Go to the next one, edit, stroke, okay. Now we're going to rotate this later. Click on here, and you have to make sure you click on the layer itself. Edit, stroke, okay. Edit, stroke, okay. All right, so now we've got all these different images. And if you notice, the frame goes with each one of them. So now you can save this whole thing as one big image, or you can save them as individual files. So what I do is I take the top one and I flatten it and go File, Save As, put it on my desktop. New folder, and just put class. Okay, so here's the original, okay? But I want to start naming things to have an idea of what I did to it. So this one is flipped. And it's framed. And this will be the first flip. Okay, because we've done a whole bunch of other flips. So I don't want to have to figure out new names for everything. All right. So it's going to be in here. And I'm going to make it, you can save it as a PSD file or as a JPEG. Doesn't matter. And make sure if it's a JPEG, then it's a maximum. Say okay. All right, so there's that. But oh my God, what happened to the other ones? So just do Command or Control Z, and they're back. So now, because I am so ADD, it's kind of like, did I save that one? Didn't I save that one? So I'm just going to take it and throw it away. So now this one, you can do it that way, or you can go image, image rotation, flip vertical, and do that. So you can take all of your images and flip them any way you want. I personally like this one better. So I'm going to flatten it. File, Save As. And I'm just going to change this to 2. Command Control Z. Get rid of it. Okay, this one is kind of image, rotate, whoop, clockwise. Or image, rotation, flip it. I think I like that one better. Again, there's no right or wrong answer to this. So it's whatever you as the artist like better. So File, Save As. To do the third one. And that one saved as a PSD file, doesn't matter. And then, whoops, I didn't flatten that one. Let's flatten the image. And the reason I'm redoing it is for file space, it just becomes so big after a while. Oh, for those of you who have Amazon Prime, did you know that Amazon Prime allows you to put unlimited photos online? Now, their definition of photos is a JPEG. So if you want to store PSD files or you want to store raw files, that's a different story. They don't consider those photos. They're looking at JPEGs. And as I said before, I'm a JPEG shooter. So I have almost 4 million images online. So I have a t-shirt that says, I am not obsessive, I am not obsessive, I am not obsessive, I am not obsessive. So yeah. So if you're looking for a place to store images, Amazon Prime. All right, so save that one, go back. And this is why I do this, because I am totally ADD. So we'll take a look at this one. And image rotation, flip vertical. I like that better. Seems like looks like a crown. Flatten the image. File, save as. Change the name. Z. Delete this. All right, and this is our original image that we started with, but it got rotated. So sometimes, even though we've been viewing it as, let's see. Oops. You know, we may have been viewing it like that. Maybe we like it better the other way. So I kind of like it that way. So look at things, move things around, see how you like them. So flatten this. File, save as. And this is the original, but it's the original frame. So we just save it that way. All right, so there's another way of doing stuff too. In the process of doing the twirls, there you go. Misty, any questions?
No, not yet.
Really? Are you
I
people
think they're
still
just
there?
processing.
Are they still there?
Yeah, they're still here. I think just processing.
Okay. All right, so let's close out of this one, and I want to show you what I think Misty showed me how to do this. All right, so there's the original instructions. Misty, do you remember about the polar part?
Yes, that is fun.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to show you polar part.
Awesome.
So same similar beginning steps. Okay, so Command J. Hello. Convert to smart object, filter, pixelate, mesotint. Say okay. Filter, blur, radial blur, 100. Filter, blur. Okay. Filter, radial blur. Okay. Okay, so that's just normal whatever. Okay. Misty taught me this. So filter, distort polar coordinates. So these, you know, you can play with these. I don't understand them, so, but this one's kind of fun. okay, and go from rectangular to polar and say, okay, and it does that. So I just thought that was kind of cool. All right. Get rid of that one. Sunset. I'm going to just show you some. All right, so on the fractals ones, this isn't a good example to show, but it's just one that I just grabbed real quick. Make a copy. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to rotate it and repeatedly. So you can do things like, let's see, like that. Or like that. All right, so it's just one image, it's just a flower image, and it just rotates. And if you, this is an actual cutout image. This isn't the whole image. So this is just an element. And just take it and you can just rotate it and shrink it, and it goes around and around and around. So what I'm going to show you is more something like that. So, but it's the same concept. You just need to play with it. So if you take this, make a copy, and you're going to transform it. But in order for the transform to have memory, so to speak, you hit Alt Command T, and it kind of gives it an idea of that you're going to want to record it, so to speak. And up at the top, you want to make sure that this is highlighted so the width and the height are connected. So I'm going to change this to 95%. You can see it just shrunk up. Well, actually, I think I'm going to have to do it more because of this. Let's do 60%. And then there's also the angle of rotation. So I'm going to take this angle and do, and I'm just making up numbers right now. So let's do 20%. Okay. Oops. Hang on, my Zoom just clicked in. Go away.
Someone just said, can't see what was up there to change.
Can you see my cursor right now?
I do.
Okay. All right, so what I changed up here, I don't know if they can see this or not. Then maybe that their Zoom bar is in the way. But there's a toolbar up at the top, and for the transform, I'm changing the width by 60%, which changes the height by 60, and I changed the angle by 20. And again, these numbers are totally made up. Okay, so I'm just trying to do extreme numbers so you can just see the difference. And I'm just going to click on OK. Now what you can do if you want to repeat that is you hit Command Alt Shift T, and every time you hit T, it does it again. And it also creates a separate layer. Now, if you don't want to create a separate layer, because sometimes it just becomes like I'll have 100 of them, is that if you have the layer highlighted, and do it, it will all go in that one layer. So, questions on that?
Nope.
Nope. Okay then. Actually, kind of look kind of cool.
I think it's just a lot to process. I mean, this is some good stuff.
So, all right, we're coming towards the end because I know we've gone through.
Oh, someone's asking, can you show how you did the snail?
That's a whole other thing. The snail. Let me see if I can find that snail. Oh, I know where it might be. Oh. This is behind my scenes. So, snail. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there it is.
So there's a snail, okay? And I took that as the element of it, and I cut this out, and I transformed it and rotated it to that. So if you look, it's the same image over and over and over and over and over again. So, and where is it? This, I transformed into that. And what I did was I took the calla and I flipped it, and then I did a left, right, flipped it horizontal, and then I flipped it top to bottom and just bunch. So this is all one element. So, but that's, if you have questions on that, we can do a private Zoom call on that one. Okay? So, where am I? One sec. Okay, I think we're kind of, all right, so I want to teach you how to make your own signatures. Let me, so if I want to sign this on my own, I'm not a big fan of watermarking personally. I think it takes away from the image. But there are obviously different opinions on whether you should watermark an object or not. I generally don't. But if you want to, you can do it with just a brush, because sometimes you want different colors and you want different sizes on stuff. So just one little object, instead of bringing it, trying to find it and bring it in and transform it and all kinds of fun stuff. You can create a brush. So I have brushes, and there's my signature. So because it's a brush, you can hit the left or right brackets to size it, whichever way you want. And then you can make it whatever color you want too, because it's a brush. So I'm gonna hit D to make it just a white brush. And it's on a separate layer. So if I want, I can change the color, I can change the opacity, I can change the blend modes to it. I can change, so I just go in here. It's 100% opacity, 100% flow. Click, and there it is. Now what I can do is I can change the opacity on this. And I can change the blend mode. Overlay, there's hard light, there's soft light, overlay, so yeah, maybe hard light.
Someone's asking, is that a photo logo signature or one you designed yourself?
It was probably one of the photo logo ones, but you can totally do, well, I'm going to show you in a minute. You can just design it yourself. Okay, so there's that. The photo logo ones that you buy, I haven't been real happy with. One of the ones that I got, it looked like a Disney font, and it's like, I'm just not a Disney girl. So it's an ever-evolving process. So, okay, so I'm going to show you how to create your own brush. So if you come on here, and what I did was I just typed something in. I just picked a funky font and just typed it in, okay? You can also scan your own signature in and create a brush from your own actual signature. If you're going to do that, what I recommend is taking a white sheet of paper and a Sharpie, a black Sharpie, and sign your name, because you need some width, some density to the signature in order for it to be able to catch on to it. So with the text, given that you do just a text layer, if you click on the text and you hit Command and you hit that, then it just highlights it. And it's just all selected. And then you can do, so you can edit, define brush. And I'm going to put my signature. And say okay. Okay. So now, you select. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. So now, now I'm all messed up. Let's get out of that. So history, looks like. Why is that still there? Can you see that? I can see that. Okay. So now I want to, under brushes, go here, and it'll be pretty much the last brush you've got going on. And there's my signature. And then you can make it whatever you want. So does that make sense to anybody?
Definitely. No comments.
There we go. Whee! Okay. I think I covered what I wanted to. Okay, we have a bunch of, I sent you a PDF file. What I'd like to do is I'd love to see what you guys create. So there's a link here where you can upload your own twirls. And when you do that, if you upload them either here or on the club's website, I would love for you to include your original files. That's part of the learning experience, to be able to see, oh, well, that worked, or, you know, that didn't work. And it's always surprising to see where twirls kind of came from. So don't just do twirls for your good stuff. Try twirls on your bad stuff. Just try twirls on bad cell phone pictures, or memes, or anything. So just kind of experiment and have fun with it. It's my understanding that we've recorded this, and the recording will be here. I've also have a couple of YouTube videos, not from me, but from other people. So, and there's a bunch of them. So, and each one has slightly different numbers. So it's kind of interesting to watch them. So here's one on twirling. Here's another one on flipping images. Here's one on fractals. So if you want to try to create the snails, you can do that. And then actions, there's a whole world of actions. I included a twirl action for you. So that way you can kind of just do it on your own to see if yours looks like that or not. So I think that's it. Again, I know we covered a lot of information. If you want to do a private Zoom call, I'm happy to do that. I'm kind of not busy right now, so it would give me something to do and somebody to talk to. So,
Hey, this is Gary, a couple of comments.
sure.
On the Zoom Twirl workshop recording, I will try to upload that to SmugMug, but it may be too big. If that's true, what I will do is I will put it in our Google Drive and send you a link so that you can operate it that way. That's probably better anyway, because launching a video out of SmugMug has a big delay with it, and the bigger the video, the bigger the delay.
Okay, that would make sense. So Gary will send you a link.
Yep.
Okay, do you guys want to open it up for everybody just to?
Yeah, let me do that.
Yeah, everyone, yeah, we'll just get the muting off.
If I can find it.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. Hello.
Hello.
Fantastic job, Debbie. Really fun.
Well, good. I'm glad you liked it.
I can't
Okay.
wait to try it. There's too much information.
You can each unmute yourselves if you want to say something. The control for that's down the lower left-hand corner of your Zoom with a little microphone.
Thank you very
Hey.
much, Debbie. It was awesome.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
it was awesome. So that last page that you showed, will that be, Gary, are you going to send that to us?
I think you already have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you-
Did you get a file of stuff?
I don't know.
I didn't get any.
How
I
did it?
did, email, yeah.
I'll resend it just in case.
Okay, thank you.
That's all that stuff in the Google Drive. So there's a whole file folder stuff in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think what I included in there was the page with all the links on it. I included an action, a twirl action for you. There's a link in there on how to load actions. I also included the instructions, and I included the original the image that we worked on here. So
Hey, Debbie, I tried your action and it's awesome. It's like effortless.
Oh, good.
And it just loaded automatically. So I didn't have to do any loading. I just clicked on the link and it went right into my Photoshop.
I think a lot of it also depends on what version of Photoshop you have.
Debbie,
Great. Well, I'll have to go over and over it several times.
Well, as I said, if you have questions, just hit me up, and I'm happy to go through it.
Good. Thank you. This was awesome.
thanks, Debbie.